the time has come.
Yes. Oh, Charlotte, glorious news. Sanditon is saved.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Come along, everyone. We must go and tell Lady Denham immediately. Sydney!
This scene, Sydney did not look happy at all. Everyone around him was very happy at the news, the great news apparently, and Sydney is not feeling the excitement, the joy that his family is celebrating over. Charlotte, of course, she wanted to join in the excitement as well, but when she looked over to Sydney, she knew something was wrong.
What is it?
Charlotte. My dear Charlotte.
Sydney gave her a small smile just to try to comfort her before he told her the actual news that he had to tell her. He grabbed her hand, a sign of comfort, trying to say the news the smoothest way as possible, but really there's no easy way to tell what he had to tell her in this scene. He called her Charlotte again, my dear Charlotte. He started to call her first name more often now, and it's really nice to hear that because I felt like it's more intimate, much more loving than just calling her Miss Hayward.
I had hoped that when I returned I would be able to make you a proposal of marriage. But that cannot be.
He did not forget about Charlotte. He did not forget about their last conversation. He did not forget the conversation that they had on the balcony. He thought of Charlotte a lot during his journey to London, and it's different when he came back home from London. And he must be going crazy in his mind, like, how should I tell Charlotte this? They're gonna break her heart. And he said it right off the bat, and Charlotte, like, what? You cannot propose to me? Like, what possibility that will keep you from proposing to me?
The fact is I had been obliged to engage myself to Mrs. Eliza Campion. Please believe me that if there was any other way to resolve Tom's situation, I would.
I understand.
I think we all need to give grace to both Sydney and Charlotte. This is a very hard breakup for Charlotte. She is losing her chance to be with Sydney, and she fell for him really deeply. She truly loved him and supported him as who he was. No matter if he is perfect or not, she fell for him. And the other way around, he fell for her. He saw something that he had with her, something special, and a love that he never experienced before until he met her. He did fall for her too. So this is really hard for both sides, and I think we need to give grace to both of them and realize that both of their hearts are breaking. He somewhat like paused a bit before he told her. He trying to encourage himself to say the words. He really didn't want to say this to her. This is something that he did not sign up for and did not want to tell her, but it is the truth, and he had to let her know because it's the only way to solve the financial situation of Tom Parker. And it really sucks though at the end of this whole drama that it's all about Tom, right? Just because Tom mismanaged his money and he wasn't really a clever businessman, he ruined the whole project of trying to get the economy going in the town and build new buildings and try to attract tourists and newcomers that might live in the town. Just because of him, Sydney had to give up his life, basically, just to make his brother Tom happy and get this situated, just for the sake of the town.
Okay. I wish you every happiness. Excuse me.
Has anyone ever thought of what happened in the conversation between Eliza and Sydney? I'm just wondering, like, how did he come to Eliza, you know? He probably thinking that she has a lot of money, and then the conversation went sour when she forced him to marry her, kind of like obligation, like he said, like a contract marriage. So he's marrying Eliza, who he doesn't love and doesn't want to marry, and he's doing it just for the sake of his brother Tom. Charlotte, I wouldn't even say, if I was her, I wouldn't even say I wish you every happiness. That's like too nice to say, like too sportsmanship like conduct. Anyway, that's how she is. She's a very nice person, but I think she didn't have to say that in this moment. She started crying, like her tears like running down her face, and she had to leave the room. She really did, and I'm glad she did, because she needed to process this and go through the emotion and try to comfort herself. And this is really tough. She's crying by herself in the room, and she doesn't have like family around, you know, like true family, blood family. So this is really tough, and I'm pretty sure this is gonna push her even further to go home as soon as possible.
Well, Miss Hayward, you still proclaiming your independence? Or is it that none of our young men have taken your fancy? I'll wager we'll see you walk down the aisle very soon.
Charlotte is truly an independent woman. I think you get to see that throughout season 1. She is an independent woman. She does seem to remind me a little bit of Lady Denham, but Charlotte, when it comes to romance, she opened her heart and take the chance, take the risk. The Lady Denham had no idea what happened between Charlotte and Sydney. You can see when Lady Denham said, "Oh, no man went after your heart," and you can see Charlotte thinking of Sydney, and of course she doesn't want to tell Lady Denham about Sydney.
What do you say, Mr. Parker?
Yes. Oh, Lady Denham.
Oh.
Of course, Lady Denham, she got Sydney involved. Charlotte, of course, doesn't want to talk to Sydney, especially in the public event. Oh, by the way, I did not show it, but this is the wedding of Lord Babington and Esther. So they did get married, and they look really happy as a couple, and now this is the wedding reception. So wedding season, wedding party, everyone talk about love and romance. So of course, we see this conversation happening.
How do you do, Miss Hayward?
Very well, thank you.
And your family? Are they well?
Very well.
I just realized that Sydney picked up 2 champagne glasses, so one for him and one supposedly for Eliza, but she talking to a different group of people. Sydney decided to strike up a conversation with Charlotte instead of like going back to Eliza and giving her that glass of champagne. He respectfully asked Charlotte how she's doing and her family. Very odd. It's some awkwardness going on in there. He's trying to keep the conversation going.
How are your own wedding preparations?
Elaborate.
He didn't really seem excited about the wedding season that he is in with Eliza. He's not happy about planning a wedding with her. He's not happy to be engaged to Eliza. And that's basically give an answer to Charlotte like, wow, you really want to be unhappy just for the sake of your brother.
Well, who would have thought planning a London wedding could be so exhausting? Perhaps we should have a simple country affair like this one, dear. Though I don't think it'd be quite our sort of thing. Do you?
Of course, Eliza joined in the conversation because she is jealous. She is aware there's a chemistry going on between Sydney and Charlotte, and there's still some passion between Sydney and Charlotte, even though Eliza is now engaged to be married to Sydney.
Men. What do they know? Good day, Miss Hayward.
Sydney's mood in conversation changed when Eliza joined the conversation. He became silent. He really didn't interact much with Charlotte when Eliza is around. Eliza knows that there's something that Sydney never wanted, and he being pressured by Eliza to be in a marriage with her. Charlotte tried to stay calm and collected. It's really nice that Sydney gave her a sweet nod to her when he left with Eliza, but after that, it was just like a moment of fresh air for Charlotte. She just like released it, like, oh, like I survived that. But it still bothers her, of course. This is something that she didn't want to happen to herself. She always wanted Sydney. And unfortunately, at the end of all this, Charlotte is basically the second choice for Sydney because he did pick Eliza over Charlotte. Just because of his brother. He really loved his brother more than Charlotte.
When do you leave for London?
I'm not leaving. I've decided I owe it to my father's memory to stay here. At least until the new works are completed.
I think it's a way of him to forgive himself for how he ended that conversation with his father. He cannot make amends now. He's already dead, right? So he's probably thinking, how can I come to a conclusion, a closure, at the same time honor my father's memory? And he decided to do that. And hopefully he still has that opportunity in London. I'm pretty sure his dad wants him to be happy.
I gather Mrs. Sydney Parker is engaged.
Yes. I wish them both every happiness.
The gossip fly around really quickly in Sanditon. Of course, James heard about Sydney and Eliza, and he already knew how this is affecting Charlotte, especially when they had that conversation at the ball. James like, I wish you the best with him. I hope he makes you happy, truly happy.
She's not half the woman you are, Charlotte. If you can't see that, he doesn't deserve you.
Thank you, Mr. Stringer.
I agree with what James said, but at the same time though, like, I think we need to give the grace to Sydney. This is something that he did not plan, like, since the very beginning. This is something that rose up quickly, and he had to make a decision, and traveling between London and Sanditon seemed to be like a really long journey, so it was something that he had to act quickly and decide if he want to marry Eliza just to cover his brother's butt in the financial crisis of the town. So half of the situation, I feel bad for Sydney, but the other half is like, you know, he should have stayed with Charlotte, but he chose family over Charlotte. And it reminded me of the conversation in episode 1 when Charlotte started to question him about his family and stuff. And I think it was the episode after that, episode 2 or 3, where she told him, like, do not give up, do not leave town, like, Tom needs your help and all that. So there's something inside of Sydney, and he decided to stay in Sanditon longer than he expected, and he never gave up on Tom. He never gave up on the idea of family and that we stick to one another. So I think that played a role when he made that decision of marrying Eliza.
Despite everything, I do hope you don't regret coming to Sanditon.
How could I? It's been the greatest adventure of my life.
We'll miss you. You're welcome anytime.
Mary knew what was going on. She's a woman. Women pick up on these things, and she knew that Charlotte was falling for Sydney, and that Sydney liked Charlotte too.
Whoa, steady now, steady.
She looked a bit excited though in the scene. She's like, okay, Sydney is trying to catch up to me. Is this a good thing or is this a bad thing?
I couldn't let you go with her.
Well, this doesn't sound good. He couldn't let her go without a blank goodbye. So this is a goodbye from Sydney to Charlotte. Charlotte's like anticipating like what he gonna tell her, what he gonna say. Sydney like trying to catch up his breath after he raced so hard to catch up with Charlotte carriage ride.
Tell me you don't think too badly of me.
I don't think badly of you.
Seriously, after all that you guys went through, you told Charlotte that. And of course she's, you know, the nicest person. And she's like, no, of course not. I think he wanted to have a proper closure. And he wanted to move on from Charlotte. Knowing that everything is mutual, like it's on a good page. I mean, it's not gonna be the greatest closure, but I think he didn't want to move on without any regrets or what if or an open closure where, you know, they didn't really talk it out and, you know, end the relationship officially. So I think that what he's trying to do in this scene.
I don't love her, you know.
You must not speak like that. She loves you and you've agreed to marry her. You must try to make her happy.
Yes. Yes, you're right.
I like how Charlotte said you agreed to marry her, so you made a choice, Sydney. You have to put up with the consequences. And also, Charlotte trying to tell him, like, don't cheat on her when you think of me. Like, not only you can cheat on your partner physically with someone else, you can emotionally cheat too. So Charlotte, like, don't think of me. Like, once you married to Eliza, like, don't think of me. Don't think of your feelings about me. Like, you gotta move on and accept the fate of this loveless marriage that you decided to do with Eliza. Basically, in a nice way, Charlotte, like, you did this to yourself, so it's not my problem.
I have to fulfill my side of the bargain. Goodbye, Charlotte. I wish you every happiness.
Somehow it's like, staying her heart, and she just like realized like, oh my goodness, this is really a goodbye. Like, this is probably the very last time I will ever talk to Sydney, because once he's married to Eliza, Charlotte really cannot be that close to him anymore, not even as a friend. So this is the reality now. That there's no more Sydney in her life, there's no more Charlotte in his life. It sucks also that the last time they see each other, like, you know, Charlotte is like crying and so sad, and Sydney is like sad too. It wasn't a happy goodbye. It's heartbreaking. And I think, again, I'm gonna say this again, I think we have to give grace to Sydney, because I think it's important to understand how Sydney is feeling and what he is going through from his perspective. Not only Charlotte is struggling, Sydney too. I do want to say though, Sydney could not have chased after her, right? He could have avoided her, he could have not said goodbye to her, but he did. And it showed that he did care for her. He did not ride off, he stayed right there in that same spot with his horse. He watched her leave. It just showed that he really cared for her, and he really didn't like the situation that they are in. He really tried. He tried to say goodbye to her, like try to have that closure. Charlotte is like, you know what? It is what it is, right? Like, I'm gonna cry and be emotional. At least I'm going home. I'm gonna see my family, and you know, family is a good thing for your soul. And I'm pretty sure her family is ready to open their arms and receive her and comfort her and help her to get back on her 2 feet. Sydney, his facial expression is like getting like really intense. You can see him like, what have I done? Like, am I really doing it? And I'm pretty sure the feeling of guilt and regret is starting to show up even more to him. It's just that look of like, you know, am I doing the right thing? And this is how the season 1 ended, just like this. And Charlotte is going home. Sydney is in that wedding planning stage with Eliza. I hope you enjoy this review. Again, thank you for those who listened since the very beginning, and to those who recently joined. Season 2 will be up sometime this month. I need time to film those, and I'm gonna upload them when it's ready. But we should wrap up season 2 of Sanditon before Christmas, and I will finally have a break. There's a lot of work doing this, honestly, and I will be back for One House the Heart next year, and season 10 of One House the Heart, and season 3 of Sanditon. I'm not sure when these 2 shows are coming back, but whoever is first, I think I'm gonna do it. We'll see. That's my plan for 2023. Anyway, for those who dislike my videos, pretty sure you probably a season 2 fan. But anyway, again, please don't send any hateful comments on my channel toward other fans in season 1 and other fans in season 2 and toward the show. I do want to do this in fairness, so just that. And I know season 2 there'll be a lot of talks because of the different fandoms. Anyway, that's my only rule going forward in season 2. Any comments and thoughts, please let me know. We'd love to talk to you guys and talk about season 1 and eventually season 2. I can't wait for season 2. It's a different ball game, and it's a different experiences, and we're gonna meet new people, and I'm still trying to sort out like which character to focus on. I try not to talk about the entire episode because 1, YouTube, and the stupid copyrights. Second, I really don't have time to talk about everyone, but I do like to focus on Charlotte's journey again and her love life, and focus on the big storylines in the season. So we'll see what happens. I will figure it out. Anyway, thanks again for your support, and if you haven't subscribe to my channel so you will get updates on when the new review is up. Hope you well, and see you very soon. Bye.